your captain this afternoon. It is not fly day. Today is Monday. It's been a while since I did a video, and there are a couple of reasons for that. One of those is that I was in Europe for a couple of weeks, which is fabulous. Went to Paris and Lyon, France, and Switzerland. So I will show some pictures of that here. Another thing is that instead of doing a video, I've been working on some articles. Actually, got an opportunity to write for Piper Flyer magazine about this particular aircraft, and I was able to do that because somebody, a guy named Scott, who's an editor there, saw some of these videos and got to me through the Facebook, the Tomahawk Owners Facebook group, which is a really nice use of Facebook. So all that to say, part of the plan here today was to figure out whether or not the GPS was going to come on, and that was a spectacular failure. So we are going to have to go back down to the avionics shop this week, hopefully, on Friday. Meanwhile, the other thing I would like to do is talk about landing a Piper Tomahawk, especially versus a Cessna. I heard some guy in the pattern. I'm looking for him now. I'll go ahead or do it right now. It'll be on final. Either way, as far as I can tell. We're going to get out here today, and we're going to look at some landings, the way this plane lands. I love the way this plane lands, especially compared to a Cessna. No offense. Put in some video from Cessnas as well, but I'll talk about it as I get out here. Pulls around at 30 on the DG, 30 on the compass is coming in. Put my feet on the floor and go full power. Gauges are green. Airspeed's alive. 55. We can rotate. And go out at 70. And Jumbo wing through traffic 4447 Echo is the left downwind runway 30 Jumbo. Coming a beam right here, so we will pull our power down to about 1600 and put in that first notch of flaps, that manual notch of flaps. All right. I'm going to configure her to come down to about 80 knots, losing about 500 feet per minute. Really loses altitude pretty quickly. I mean, you kind of just feel her drop. I do not need as wide of a pattern as I sometimes flying a Cessna, so I'm going to turn this now. Jumbo wing stream traffic 4447 Echo is turning a base for runway 30 left base, Jumbo. And still 85 knots. So two things about this plane. I come in a little faster than I do in a Cessna, and I like to put the nose down and lose altitude a little quicker. Jumbo wing stream traffic 4447 Echo is base to final runway 30 Jumbo. Got no wind in our face at all, so this is going to, losing this altitude is going to be a little tougher. I'm going to pull that second notch of flaps now. Full power. Now it's nice to come in with a little power. Just the way it lands, when it goes well, you just end up kissing the wheels. Nice. All right, 75 knots. Come down to the runway nicely. Got 70 knots. We've got all our flaps in. Runway's made. Come down here. Look all the way down the runway. Pull power. Let her settle in. Settle in. Not bad. Actually kind of put down a little harder than I normally would. Put the flaps all the way down with those manual flaps. Down the power to already go. And she's up. Pitch for 70. She goes.
Raymond Gun, Jumbo wing traffic Skylane 262 taxi from the T-hangars for run up for runway 30.
Gonna beam the numbers now. Right at our altitude. A little fast. We can slow down here, bring it down. First notch of flaps. And then I don't know if you can tell from the camera, but just pitches right over. I'm going to pull this back to about, well, only doing 85 knots. Pull it back to about 80. But we can come over the fence about 75, 70, 75.
John Bell, Williams German traffic 4447 Echo is turning a left base runway 30, John Bell.
All right, gas is on both, lights are on, undercarriage is fixed, mixture full rich, prop full forward.
John Williams German traffic 47 Echo is base to final runway 30, touch and go, John Bell.
All right, slow her down.
Aircraft is on final to Raymond. This is Skylane 62. Do I have time to get off ahead of you?
I am coming right in right now. Just touch and go, be in front of you.
4262 is taking the applicant and will be departing traffic pattern to the northeast Raymond Williams traffic.
All right, and 47 Echo is going missed on runway 30. Sidestep to the right. Skyline, I have just upwind of you on the right side of the runway here, trying to come in, or I was trying to come in.
I have you in sight.
And I'm going to head out to the right here, to the north.
All right, well, that was interesting. That guy apparently did not understand what I was saying and decided to go ahead and take off when I told him that I was coming in. So probably needed to say something like, negative, I am on the short final. Please hold. Something like that. All right.
John Bell Williams Raymond traffic 4447 Echo is over the tire plant about 4 miles to the north, and we are going to overfly the airfield and enter the downwind runway 30. John Bell Raymond. John Bell Williams German traffic 4447 Echo is crossing the field from the north, going to enter a left downwind for runway 30. John Bell.
1,300 feet. Turn that. Lose little speed while we come into the pattern altitude.
John Bell Williams German traffic 47 Echo is a left downwind runway 30. John Bell.
Nobody on final. Very close to the runway to make this happen.
Raymond traffic 47 Echo is base to final runway 30 at Raymond.
Second notch of flats. Coming in fast. 80 over the numbers. Down to 75. Down, see where she takes us. 75. Full power. Thing I like is the idea of a ground effect here. And we just put the wheels right down. Back to full power. Back to 60 where we can rotate. And we're up again. How's that for a landing? It likes to come in a little fast. All right, so what's a little different from a Cessna? There's just very little float. I came in very fast there. If I'd come in at 75 in a Cessna, I would have been sitting there dipping the yoke or whatever you want to call it, just over and over and over again. Slower down here to collapse range. Attain my altitude. We're beam the numbers. Gas on both, lights are on, undercarriage is fixed, mixture full rich, prop full forward, and flap range, we can put in first notch flaps. Come down about 1,600 RPM. Nosing over, feels like it noses way over. It's really not that bad, but we're losing 400 feet per minute, which is pretty, you know, what's the word for that? It's pretty, nice. Word, it's stabilized, that's what it is. All right, return our base.
John John Boy and German traffic, 47 Echoes, turning a left base, runway 30, John Bell.
Losing a lot of altitude right there, so put in a little bit of power just to bring her over where she needs to be. Nobody on final, haven't heard anybody on the radio. 80 knots. So really stabilized, I could come in, 75 over the fence, slow it down to 70. But you saw how this wheel's kissed, right? I just love the way that is. No wind out here today, one way or the other, so it's not slowing me down coming down the runway. But there's no tailwind or crosswind either, so it's a good little opportunity. High on the glide slope, which means I can get in here, stabilize.
John Boy and German traffic, 47 Echoes, short final runway 30, John Bell.
And then put in that second notch of flaps. And then, if we can't just slow her down, aim her right down the runway, put her down on the center line. 75, pull a little more power. Down to 70, come down here, and just thin it out, power, wheels. Nice. Flaps are down. Barely let the nose touch. And we're up again, going out at 70. Hit the brakes. Some right rudder. Keep it on center line. 70 knots. Really calm out here too, so that helps. See the taxiway down there. Must be kind of over the runway. Right on the numbers. Okay, so we are beam, so we can pull her down to about 1600. We're at flap range, first notch of flaps. And let her come down. 80 knots. Y'all can see that. I don't know what it looks like in the camera, but it feels like it's going straight down. See, we're getting down to 1,100 feet. I like to turn this at 1,000 feet. It almost seems like in this plane I could turn it sooner. 1,000 is what I got really used to in this, at this airport, in this pattern in Cessnas. Turn that. 1,000 feet. We were a little far out here, and the truth is, this thing doesn't glide quite like a Cessna does, so if I lose an engine, I should probably be closer to the field. Comes down fast, though. All right, over to 030, 85 knots still, so we can get her up here. Nobody's on final. Check that.
John Boy and German traffic, 47 Echoes, left base, turning final runway 30, John Bell.
And turn our final here. Come around too soon. A little higher than we have been. See what we got on Bassi or Pappy or whichever one that is. All right, bring it around the center line. 80 knots. Pull some power. That second notch of flap. See what it can do for me. Go right down. 75. Under glide slope now. 70. Right down on the 30. Come down with a little less power in. Let's see what happens. It likes to fly down, right? So down here, look down. A little harder. Not bad, though. Flaps are down. Keep the nose up. The right rudder in. 60 and rotate. We're up to 70. Go out V, Y. Which also feels like you're sticking your nose straight in the sky. VY in this plane feels like a power-on stall in a Cessna, which is kind of interesting. Maybe this will be the last one. We can make this one perfect. Let's make her a doozy.
John Bell, Williams, German traffic, 47 Echoes, base to final runway 30, full stop, John Bell.
All right, 80 knots. Coming in a little high on glide slope. Then that second notch with the runway made. About to slow her down. 1,500 RPM. .75 knots. Again, comes in a lot faster than a Cessna feels. I mean, the Cessna, I'm usually trying to slow it down to 60 knots over the fence. We're at 75 right now. and then, stall it right over the runway at whatever it stalls at, 50 something. Below rotation speed, right? 70 knots right here. Line her up. Pull the power. Let it just kiss on. I mean, it just touched on to the airfield, right? All right, hold back pressure because nose wheel does like to shimmy a little bit, but we're now below 45, which is good. See if we can get some aerodynamic braking in here. Flaps down. On the other brakes. No shimmy, no shimmy. And turn her off. The field. So that is landing in the Tomahawk. It doesn't float like a Cessna does. It does kind of get into a ground effect that you can feel. I get down there, pull back, I keep pulling back, I pull power, and really kind of find a way to ease it onto the runway. And those tires, I mean, at least half the time when I'm doing it right, they just kiss on. And it's really kind of a fun experience. Comes in a little faster, loses speed. I mean, if I'm high, then I can just pull power. I could actually slip it in if I felt the desire to try. But out here, pretty much nailing my airspeeds and nailing the altitudes is not as big of a problem. Go right into our space here.